Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good night. My name is Monica Novello, and today I'll be welcoming you to another edition of Encora's Devweek. In today's session, we'll be speaking about how Agile contributes to quality in software development. And with me, I have two incredible engineers. We are welcoming Johan Muir, who is a systems engineer with more than 15 years of experience in roles of Agile coach, Agile unit lead, business. What is happening today? Business analysis consultant and lead QA engineer, among many other things. And hi, I didn't see you there. Hey, welcome, Johan.
Hi,
And
Monica.
of course, joining us is Roberto Hernandez. Hi, Roberto.
Hello,
Hey,
guys.
welcome. Roberto is a senior Agile consultant, project manager, and Agile delivery manager, computer engineer, and master in IT management. Wow, that's quite a long curriculum you have here. That's incredible. Joining us today, we have these amazing speakers who are going to now take on the lead and the microphone to teach us everything Agile. So go ahead. Are you ready, guys?
Yes,
Let's
sure.
do it.
Thanks, Monica.
Great. Great. And let's go. Let's start.
Awesome. Thanks for the introduction. Well, Roberto, happy to share this couple of minutes with you, and hopefully it'll be a very interesting topic for our audience, and we'll also be able to discuss about things that draw our attention, which has to do with quality and building products with high quality standards, right? So for today, the agenda that we have is as follows. We'll go through four major topics which have to do with agile methodologies and quality assurance. We'll also go through the benefits of agile methodologies on the defect identification and mitigation, which are two key aspects of quality, the impact of agile methodologies on quality, and lastly, we'll close with metrics for measuring the impact of agile quality. Okay, so
Great.
with that, let's proceed to our first topic of discussion. So, Roberto, as you know, quality has always been a key aspect of product development, right? No matter what it is that we're building, there are quality ideals that organizations want to meet to properly satisfy the users. This could be related to, I don't know, usability, functionality, data integrity, security, among others. And assuring those ideals are met is what is called quality assurance. So making sure that we reach those quality standards is what quality assurance is all about. And of course, the more complex the solution is, the more elaborate the assurance of quality tends to become. Predictive software development presented the phase gate approach in which the complete solution had to be verified and validated all at the same time. So you had to build the product first, and afterwards you go through quality standards or quality checking. This means that the testing cycle turns out to be laborious, while at the same time, if implementation issues were discovered, bugs were identified, issues with performance were identified, correcting them turned out to be expensive given the late stages of the process in which the defects were found. Okay. Agile frameworks also have come to improve the way software is developed by reducing the time to market, which is critical to industries, also accelerating the return of investment and shortening the feedback loop. Okay, so we're able to then be able to uh, test early and then be able to get results from those tests early on and address any issues early on. But additionally, Agile frameworks have brought forth new ways in which quality assurance can be harnessed to achieve better and quicker results, which is what we're going to go through during this conversation, hopefully.
Yeah, and actually, Johan, now that we're talking about agility, it's important to notice that one of the 12 principles of agility states that the teams aim to deliver working software frequently, with a preference of a shortened timescale. So the frameworks achieve this through iterative cycles called sprints or iterations. And the idea behind them is that through a set cadence, which we define that is a short time scale, the teams can show the achieved increments to the user and identify if the outcome for that particular sprint or iteration is the expected, or if there are changes that will be suitable to apply in further iterations. And this ongoing iterative review of the product being built fosters a collaborative quality mindset in which the teams are closely involving the voice of the user to guarantee that what is being built is actually what was requested and is achieving the expected results and the happiness of the person that is receiving that. And this also allows the teams to quickly address changes. So, as I mentioned, if you are developing something and you discover that something new will be better, you are able to, in those iterations, do that change, include it, and review it as well. So you're ensuring that all the changes, all the unexpected things that happen are also being reviewed in each iteration of the cycle. And at the end, this helps to reduce the costs and keeps the team assessing the quality of the product in each of those sprints or iterations.
Yeah, totally agree. And that brings me to another aspect of the iterative model, which is that it also enables the teams to apply a constant PDCA process, right? The plan, do, check, act process. And the idea behind this is that teams are able to plan and commit to the next achievable goal and execute according to the defined goal, then check the outcome, and if required, then they can act to adjust if outcomes are not satisfied. So at the end, frameworks such as Scrum, this PDCA process occurs throughout the sprint and within each of the different standard ceremonies, right? So you can carry out the PDCA process in a retrospective where you're actually checking how things were developed and how's the temperature of the team. You can identify areas in which you can improve and adjust for the next cycle to begin. And also, Agile enables countless checkpoints in which the whole team, including the voice of the user, which is key in Agile frameworks, including the client or the user early on, can get together and guarantee quality of the product and process is ideal and also generating the value that is expected.
Yep, that's for sure. And something really important as well is okay, now that we know all this, how does it actually benefits on the defect mitigation and identification? So, to talk a little about, let me see. All right, there we go. Okay, to talk a little about what are the benefits, we can start saying that, as mentioned before, the predictive methods of software development cause historically testing and quality to be delayed to the late to the to the later stages of the development process, and that open the gates for costly defect corrections because all the development is already completed and now you need to start doing your corrections. Also, we can say that agile frameworks, on the other hand, promote strategies as shift-left quality model or a test-first development approach. On the first one, the strategy is to move the quality evaluation early in the development process rather than carrying out the testing effort during an established testing stage, usually at the end of the development. um, and the teams keep a constant quality verification mindset through the whole development cycle. For example, during refinement or planning meetings, the whole team, including the QA experts, validate the correct understanding of the request, guaranteeing that the done criteria is coherent, testable, and also according to the expectation of the user. And they also certify that the requirement is compliant with the definition of ready. This to ensure that everything that the team is receiving complies with all the needed checks to be implemented.
Yeah, and this also happens with the second strategy, which is test first development, in which we're trying to have a mindset oriented or focused in testing. And this allows us to implement strategies such as test driven development or behavior driven development. And these two encourage teams to think about how to validate the solution before developing it. Sometimes teams are so quick to start coding without actually identifying how am I going to be able to verify that the solution that I'm implemented is workable, is of value, and actually delivers or solves the issue at hand. So this focuses efforts on making sure the solution is developed considering the test scenarios or behaviors it should comply with. So instead of going uh, and beginning to develop right off the bat, you're actually taking a step back and thinking on how am I going to be able to prove that what I'm coding is actually a solution to what has been asked. At the end, the sooner defects are discovered, the faster they can be mitigated, and the more cost effective the development effort will turn out to be.
Yeah, that's really important. They are cost effective fixes.
Exactly, exactly.
And
So,
that is
so
part of the impact, right?
yeah, at the end, by promoting early and continuous testing, agile methodologies enable teams to identify and address defects at an early stage. Uh, and the proactive approach helps prevent the escalation of issues and reduce the overall cost and effort associated with bug fixing. At the end, the less amount of bugs you have to fix, the faster you're able to ship out product to the user, and the more cost effective the development of the product is. And the iterative nature of agile development allows for frequent feedback loops that enables teams to adapt and make necessary adjustments to improve quality at every step of the way.
Yeah, and also another significant impact of agile methodologies on quality is the emphasis that is made on collaboration and communications. As agile teams work closely together, and that includes the developers, the testers, the product owners, stakeholders, and even other people involved, fostering an effective communication and shared understanding is key to have a good result at the end of the cycle. This collaborative approach helps identify and mitigate quality issues more effectively because you are involving stakeholders in early and frequent stages. And agile methodologies enable the team to gather feedback and incorporate
Mhm.
it into the development process, leading, of course, to a better fit between the software and customer expectations. And also, the collective ownership of quality among the teams contributes to a more comprehensive approach, ensuring a high quality software at the end of the development cycle.
Exactly, exactly. So let's do a quick refresh before we move on to the next topic. So we've gone through ways in which Agile helps to improve quality, right? We've also seen some of the benefits that Agile gives us, but it's critical to know how can we measure quality to determine if the actions are achieving the expected results, right? It's not
Yeah.
just to implement activities or checkpoints, but actually to be sure that whatever we're doing to increase the quality of the product, we can measure it. Because if we're able to measure it, then we're able to improve it also. Okay. So with that, we can quickly review four simple metrics that can be used to measure quality on Agile frameworks. And those are, as stated on the slides, customer satisfaction, escape defects, code coverage, and also the lead and cycle time. So we're going to go through each one of those.
Yeah, and let's start with the first one, customer satisfaction. So this metrics helps to determine how happy the customer feels about the product that they are using. And this can be gathered through different methods such as surveys or feedback received through media channels. We already talked about the importance of having clear communication channels. This is a tool that relies on that as well. So you can say, okay, this does not seem like a typical quality metric, but Ponder on the fact that customers usually don't like using products with no security, that contain errors, or are just outright poor quality products. We can say that happy customers can be a good way to measure if the product we
Hmm.
are putting in their hands meet their expectations. And that obviously means that they will keep using our product. Agile frameworks allow for shorter feedback loops, as we have been saying a lot of times in these presentations. And since we are developing small increments and either having a review by the product owner or the voice of the customer, or by putting it as soon as possible in the hand of the user, is how we are enable this metric to tell us if the customer is really satisfied or if we have areas that we want to improve, and all that feedback we are getting it in the middle of the development cycle again, instead of waiting until everything is built and everything is delivered, and that will represent a possible high cost for us to fix or to revert.
Exactly. And I like the phrase that you included, which says happy customers are a good way to measure the quality of the product, because no customer likes crappy products, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Then the next one has to do with escape defects, and this basically helps us to measure the team's quality control efforts. This is how this shows the number of bugs, errors that a project has once it is on production. So it's one thing to discover bugs and defects in these testing stages or testing phases, but it's another to identify them when it's actually in production, right? And it's client facing. So it is very important because it highlights how well tested the product is before going to production. Therefore, the smaller the number of escape defects, the greater the quality of the product is. And with respect to agile methodologies, this is very useful because it can be reviewed periodically in retrospective meetings. Teams can carry out root cause or problem solving workshops to identify how to improve product quality and then compare measurements to validate if solutions proposed are successfully increasing product quality. So at the end, if you're able to identify uh, reasons why your bugs are escaping the testing cycles and hitting production, and you're able to then address them through either activities or checkpoints or incrementing the testing base. At the end, you're able to measure that the impact of those changes that you have applied in your process to make sure that you're actually improving the quality of the product.
Mhm. And you want to keep those lines closer to zero as possible.
Exactly.
Nobody likes prod defects. Okay, so now we are going to talk about code coverage. Okay, we already talked about strategies as TDD and BDD, and how do we ensure that those are being or having a significant impact. So the code coverage metric is the one that measures how much of the project's viable code is covered in unit tests. That is the testing portion of the code. So going back to the TDD and BDD patterns, when teams are encouraged to have a test first mindset, they will keep track on metrics like this to guarantee the understanding on how much the code is being covered by the test, which at the end translates in a more efficient testing process and higher quality code. And with every commit and before every deployment, the team can set quality gates or quality standards to make sure that only the code that goes beyond that barrier is the one that we are going to promote to production and client phase environments.
Yeah, at the end, the cleaner the code, the better the quality, and the fewer bugs you'll be able to identify.
And you can also see how these metrics also live with themselves, because you can expect that if you have a nice code coverage, the lines that we saw in the previous metric will go or will tend to zero because you're catching those before they actually go to production.
Exactly, exactly. And that in turn takes us to the last metric that we'll review, which is the lead and cycle time. And these two measure the time taken for a user story or feature to move from initiation to completion or to the next state or step in the process. And they reflect the efficiency of the development process and can be an indicator of quality. At the end, the shorter cycle times or the shorter the cycle times suggest a more streamlined and effective development process. The less time I take developing software, uh, it identifies that I'm able to ship out product or software with a better quality check and better standards, and thus reducing the time available for defects to arise and obviously ensuring faster delivery of high quality software. At the end, what we're trying to achieve is to ship out products as quickly as possible, put them in the hands of the users as quickly as possible, but also as healthy and clean as possible. And we obviously have to keep track of the coding standards. We have to keep track of the process that we're following to make sure that it's streamlined, and also that on every step of the way we're able to address quality before hitting production. And at the end, at Encora, high quality software standards is a pillar to us. So we constantly strive to understand how the frameworks used to develop products can maximize the outcome and value. So we are not only agile practitioners, but we're also looking for ways in which we can instill the agile mindset in the teams and organizations they work with, so that through the mindset we can continue to find better ways to deliver value to our users.
Yeah, and I love that last part, Johan, when you talk about the mindset, because at the end, as a practitioner, you need to define that mindset in your team for everybody to accept and to start seeing the results of having these agile implementations and bringing that back to quality as well. So, really accurate point there.
Great, great, awesome. It was a great conversation with you, Roberto.
Yeah, and I think that that will be all. So, we really hope that it was informative and relevant for everybody. We can see you move your mouth, but we don't hear you,
Yes, I
Monica.
was mute. Thank you. It's the heat, I tell you. The heat wave really is kicking everyone. No, but really, what an interesting conversation. And I really appreciate you guys taking the time to really explain this thoroughly. My only question would be right now, I know Encora works with an agile mindset. So how does this, like, adding members or engineers who already are cultivated in this agile mindset, how does this help or encourage other members of a engineering team or developing team? How does this transform the whole landscape or the whole way of working, the workflow? Like having people who already work and develop in this mindset. How can this
Sure,
help companies?
sure. At the end, when we refer to mindset, what we mean is that we are focusing on inspecting and adapting. So
Hmm.
it's obviously uh, analyzing how you're building software, analyzing the product that you're building, and identify if there are better ways in which you can build it, and also if there are better ways in which you can satisfy the requirements of the users. And instilling that mindset on the teams is key, because at the end, what you want is for each of those team members to be able to identify ways in which they can improve their way of work, in which they can improve their skills. They can improve the way that they address the requirements that they have to implement, which in turn will trickle down to giving our clients better and more valuable products that they can then put into the hands of their clients.
Yeah,
Great, and
and
yeah,
also, if I may add a little there,
yeah.
so it's important to notice that it's really different just to try to apply an agile framework rather than applying the whole mindset, because anyone can
Hmm.
read the framework on internet or anywhere and say, okay, we're going to do A, B, and C. But when you are actually bringing the mindset, you are creating like a culture, and you are
Yeah.
incubating in each person of the team the culture and the mindset of doing the things in this agile way. So things will flow naturally and the team at the end will not even realize that they are doing things in the
Mhm.
agile way, and instead that will be like a natural thing, and the results will prove that as well.
At the end,
Wow.
the mindset is agnostic to the framework
Hmm.
that you
Exactly.
use, and that helps also to improve quality since you're not focusing on committing to a established framework, but actually identifying ways in which the frameworks can help you improve the quality of the products that you're building. If you are focusing just on the framework, it turns out that what Roberto mentions, you're only focusing on carrying out the ceremonies or making sure that you have the documentation in each of the steps along the framework. But if you're actually thinking on the mindset aspect of it, you're then analyzing with respect to the framework, how can I improve the way that we apply it so that we can increase the quality standards and also deliver high quality products to our clients.
Great. And of course, as you said, high quality products mean happier customers because no customer really wants a crappy piece of software, right?
Correct.
So, guys, we are reaching the end of today's session. Thank you very much for your time. I really want to encourage our audience right now to send away any questions you may have. Uh, Go give a little follow to everyone here, follow Encora social media to keep up with the conversation. And yeah, we'll see you in the next sessions. Again, Roberto, Johan, thank you very much for your time. Is there any final words you'd like to add before we end this video?
Johan, do you want to go first?
Sure, yeah. Want to restate what Roberto said. Happy customers means high quality products. So focus on customers, focus on the user, and which in turn will benefit the team as they're always focusing on achieving the highest quality products to be able to then satisfy our customers.
Yep. No, from my side, again, hoping that this conversation was good and clarify any possible questions to anyone. But if, as Monica mentioned, if you have any other questions, feel free and feel sure that here at the Dev Week at Ancora, we will be more than happy
Oh,
of
it's,
having having all the
it's
questions and
flipped.
answer that for you.
Okay, my screen is flipped, but it's actually right here. You can see the social media. Go give us a
Uh,
follow, and thank you very much, everyone, for your time. I will see you in the next Incredible Week session. And yeah, bye for now. Take
bye.
care.
Bye,
Stay
guys.
hydrated.